a.m.
Your Rush On with Jay Brooks and the Morning Rush on 98.7 Kiss Country.
If you need new windshield wipers, you better go get them because you're going to need them today because, I got some more rain going on, and that kind of holds things up if you're planning on doing something in the yard work or even road construction. And why, by golly, we got the guy who just needs to talk to you about road construction. That'd be the guy, Pothole Pete, this morning.
It's that time of year.
Man, I tell you what, you got to dodge a lot of those things out there, don't you?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't seem to be too bad on our main system. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely spots, but they've been doing what they can when they can. Again, we can only put down the cold mix right now, which doesn't stick as well as the hot mix, which you have to have warmer temperatures for. But we
Sure.
put it down where we've got the issues, and we'll get out there with the hot mix when the temperatures allow it, which should be soon.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I tell you, Mother Nature is taking us on a little bit of a roller coaster ride here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's called spring in the Midwest. It happens every year.
Exactly. Oh, but did you get out there and scoop, or did you just let that snow melt away on your driveway?
It melted very quickly. I didn't touch it.
Yeah. It's they say they were supposed to have like a rain snow mix in some of the overnight hours, but I haven't really seen it. Just a lot of wet, cold, misty stuff.
Correct. Yeah, that's about all I saw as well, and I'm fine with that. They can keep the white stuff till next November at least.
Right. Exactly. Although they had some things. Where was it? Up in northern Minnesota. It was all ice out, and then they just got like 10 inches of snow last weekend. Was it?
Yeah, I saw that. The lake I usually go up to 3 times a year up there was really, really low, and they were supposed to get about 10 to 12 inches of snow. So hopefully they did. But I know 10 to 12 inches of snow is just over an inch of moisture, although it was wet snow, so maybe a little bit more because I need to bring that lake up. It's a 9,000 acre lake, and I suppose an inch and a half of rain isn't going to bring a 9,000 acre lake up a foot or two, but
they had, because where we go vacationing, they were posting at the resort that said 10 inches of snow.
Wow.
Looks pretty, but it could go away.
Yeah, it'll go away fast. I think it's supposed to start warming up tomorrow. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah. And we're getting back into the 50s and some maybe 60 marks there, but we'll just have to wait and see, Pete.
That works for me. That works for me. We are getting going, on construction. We've actually started a couple. The bridge deck replacements on US 18 to the east of Britt. One's about a mile east, and one's about 3 miles east of Britt. They've got traffic control set up, and contractor is going to be there early this week and start to get going on that project. So there'll be temporary traffic lights there to make sure you're aware of. And also just on the west side of Garner, we're doing some bridge approach work, and there'll be temporary traffic lights there as well. So those two are going, but starting next week, you're going to see a couple more that if you travel these routes, you're going to have detours you'll have to go on. One is on Iowa 14 south of Charles City. It's by Roseville. It's a bridge replacement. And for you don't know where Roseville is, it is kind of between the Marble Rock and the Rockford corners. So that will be detoured using T47, T26, and B60. It goes through Marble Rock, if that gives you a little more perspective of where it's at. Eastbound Iowa 122 on the west side of town, kind of over by the movie theater in that area. We're going to be replacing that bridge as well, starting on Monday, April 8th. So that will be closed and detoured, and the detour will be down to Old Highway 106, or Lark to 106, and then Eisenhower back up to 122. So be aware of that if you travel that route. That's scheduled to start Monday. Bridge deck overlay in Hampton, that's going to start on Monday as well. It's on the east side of town, kind of over by the hospital. That'll be temporary traffic lights. But those are kind of the big ones that are going to be starting up in the next few days that people are going to have to be aware of. Again, the bridge replacements with the detours are the ones that will get the most attention, that will cause you to give yourself a little bit of extra time on your route.
Excellent. It's always good to know what's going on and how much of a delay you're going to have. So that's all we can do. Just wait.
That's right. And we're just getting going. We'll have more as the weeks go on. So it's getting to be that time of year where we feel a little bit more confident that we can get out there and put traffic control up, and hopefully we don't get a bunch of snow that we have to plow around cones and barrels.
Right. Yeah. What's the biggest project you guys have going on this year?
The biggest project in our
Yeah.
district,
Yeah.
that would be the bridge over at Lansing, replacing that bridge. So we're in the very early stages of that. It started last fall, and they've been working throughout the winter, and that will continue through 2026, actually.
Oh boy,
So yeah,
that's a big one.
that's a big one. Replacing that bridge across the Mississippi. It's a bridge that opened in 1931, so it's been there for a long time.
Ooh, it's about time for some repairs.
It's time.
How often do bridges get inspected?
Inspected?
Yeah.
It depends on the bridge, but usually every couple of years.
Okay.
Yep.
So you got a crew that goes and travels around the district area and says, well, look, what do they do to inspect it? They drive over it, they get underneath it and look for cracks or what?
All the above. They have something also called a snooper, which is more or less a truck mounted, kind of like it's a boom truck, but the arm extends out, and then they can extend and go underneath the bridge in a basket. So they will,
Really?
yeah, they do
Oh,
pretty thorough inspections on those bridges every couple of years.
wow.
If it's an older bridge, maybe a bridge that they saw something last year that wasn't a concern, but was just something that needed to be watched, maybe it'll get inspected every year, but the majority of them are every other year.
Wow. Well, at least we don't have any big barges going underneath the bridges.
And it's crazy. Well, the main one we have is the one in Lansing, where they do, have barge traffic. And you've probably heard some talk of it in the news of they're called protection cells out in the river that protect the piers from those types of hits. And we do have, they're called dolphins. We have two of them over in Lansing to protect the piers of that bridge. Now, the new bridge won't need those dolphins because the piers are going to be built to withstand the barge hit. So, yeah,
Really?
there's bridge construction is another world. It's way, way above my head. I can give you the basics, but that's about it.
Yeah. And we like to keep it simple here, Pete.
Exactly.
Anything else going on in the construction world?
No, the big thing I would say is to, and I know I say this all the time, but it's true. Monitor 511IA. There's so many projects that are going to be starting up. The weather is going to play a role in when they start. Um, there's small projects, like we're going to be having some crack sealing projects that will hit several different highways throughout the state, and that's going to depend on when the contractor can get in, where they're located. So they pop up fairly quickly sometimes. So monitor 511IA, make your account, put in your route. That way, if something is about to happen on those roads, you will get notified of it, and we'll do what we can to keep you updated here. And obviously, uh, slow down, and pay attention. It's the big thing that's going to keep you safe and keep the workers safe going through the work zones. It's something new again. It's similar to winter driving. It's something new that you're going to have to drive through. So be ready for it. Concentrate on driving. Put on your seatbelts and get where you're going safely.
Take it and put your cell phones down.
Put those cell phones down. Do not be distracted. And again, we always talk about the cell phones as distraction because they are, but it's more than the cell phones that can distract you. It's
Right.
other people in your vehicle. It's the radio. It's whatever else.
Hey, now. Hey.
Okay, maybe the radio, but maybe tuning the radio, changing stations. There, how's that?
Why would they do that, Pete?
Well, that's
we
why
don't
we're here, Jay.
We don't want to change the radio station. Come on now. This is the most informative road report you get here.
I sure like to think so.
Yeah. Well, Pete had a late night last night. He's still wearing the same clothes he did last night. You see, you got the Hawkeye gear still on.
If you think I have only one Hawkeye shirt, you're badly mistaken. And they are getting a lot of use right now.
Well, I tell you, I bet the Hawkeye gear has really gone up in sales here through this women's basketball craze that's going on with Caitlin Clark and the whole crew. Man, what a wrecking crew they are.
I'll tell you what, I really hope, and I find myself doing this, especially the last couple of weeks, knowing that it could end any game, but just take a step back and appreciate what we've got to see the last couple of years. I mean, unless you're like UConn or South Carolina, this doesn't happen. 2 Final Fours in 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
that's incredible. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. I want to keep winning, but wow, how much fun has this been? It's just been amazing.
Oh, even if they, I even hate to say that, even if they did get beat, they've had a heck of a run.
Yeah, it's been so fun. And last night's game was just that first half. It was
Whew.
incredible. You almost needed a shower after the first half. It was
Yeah.
so up and down, and the second half was pretty close to the same, but it seemed a little more under control. But man, I tell you what, just Kate Martin stepping up with 21 points, and a Falter had 16 or 18. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah. I think it was 18.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Stalky and O'Grady and even Edinger a little bit. They held their own down there with Angel Reese and Morrow and those. I mean, there were times too that we had them boxed out, and
Yeah.
they legally. I mean, it was not a foul. They legally got the rebounds because they were that much taller,
Yeah.
and they still kept fighting. And I know we got out rebounded, but we didn't get dominated.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive.
Yeah. It was good. And, I can't stand LSU.
I I think there are a lot of people who are saying, you know something, I don't really care if I shouldn't say don't care, but they can handle losing one of the next 2 games, but did not want to lose last night.
Oh, I tell you, there's something about that Johnson and that Reese that just got under my skin. It has always got under my skin since they've been playing. It's like, oh, even the coach is like a Grinch.
They definitely have their own personalities, that's for sure, and they're not afraid to let them show.
Oh, I was hoping that the extended eyelashes of Reese, I don't know why you would play with extended eyelashes at a basketball game. Why do you do that?
You'd have to ask her. I have no clue.
I saw
I did have a friend say that he thought it would have been pretty funny if after a timeout, everybody's in the huddle, all the Iowa players came back out on the court and had long eyelashes.
that would be funny.
Freak everybody out.
Yeah. Well, I made a comment about her eyelashes maybe falling off. It'd be funny if one fell off, right before she had to do like a free throw or something, or got in her eye when she was going up for a layup or whatever. And then even like a contact, and I didn't know she wore contacts. And then she was putting one in because it must have fell out. How you find it on the floor, I have no idea. But if I was an Iowa player, this is what I would have done, because this is how sportsmanlike I am. If I'd have seen it, I'd have stepped on it.
The other thing that amazed me about that is she put that thing back in her eye without any saline solution.
I know everybody else made a comment about that too. We were watching.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
And one thing that was pretty impressive last night is, yes, there was some, I don't want to say bad blood. I think the bad blood was more made up by fans and media than anything, but the sportsmanship in the game was good. You saw people helping each other up, and I have no problem with the what's the word I'm looking for? The intensity. Caitlin yelling, Angel Reese yelling. You see Kate Martin, Hannah Stalky. I have no problem with that. It's the taunting that gets a little bit old and a little bit much, and you really didn't see that last night. It was just a really good game against 2 really good teams, and that was fun.
It was too close of a game to taunt anybody.
Yeah, you could have eaten those taunts pretty quickly in that game.
Yeah, but yeah, it was interesting. You didn't see, pointing to the finger, with the ring or the I don't know what the in the face thing is. That what's that? I don't know what that even means.
I think it means something. You can't see me, more or less. You can't guard me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So that's what the cool kids tell me anyway.
Right. Yeah. Us old guys were trying to figure out, what does that mean?
Exactly. And we were talking about this. Well, my wife and I were talking about it last night, and then I was talking about it at work this morning too. Don't get me wrong, Caitlin Clark's drives to the basket and her 3-pointers and everything were amazing. But I still think the best play of the game last night was when she came down on the right side of the floor, one-on-one with Angel Reese, and she pulled up and sucked in 2 defenders, and a Falter was coming down the other side, and she knew she was there, and just dropped it off to her for a layup. It just kind of encapsulates how she sees the floor and how she knows the game, and just is 3 steps ahead of everybody. And her teammates are ready. That's the other thing. Her
Yeah.
teammates are ready for it.
Except Stokey, she can drop that every now and then.
What's that?
I said, except for Stokey or whatever, she can drop them pretty good.
Oh, she's just fine. She's a sophomore starting on a Final Four team. I think she's doing okay.
I know.
No,
Oh.
she's not perfect, but I think she's doing just fine.
Oh, she's put some points up before.
Yes, and I agree. She doesn't catch everything cleanly, and I think it was last game against Colorado. I thought she kind of got bounced around a little bit early in the game, and she went up weak with some of her shots. Now she was great from the free throw line,
Yeah.
where she usually struggles, but she did miss a few bunnies. But she's a sophomore. And she didn't play a lot last year with Monica Sonano down there, so I think she'll be pretty dang. Well, she already is pretty dang good. I think she'll just keep getting better.
How about that crook over on the Iowa State side?
Oh,
She
Audie.
Yeah, Audie. She come from Algona.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what, it's fun to watch the girls that came from the area.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah,
And-
it's awesome. And I think that's the other thing we I don't know if we overlook, but just kind of take for granted. Caitlin Clark played up here in the Mason City high school gym several times. She's from West Des Moines,
Yeah.
so she's an Iowa native as well.
Well, I think she scored like her career high in Mason City, like
Yeah, I
60
think you're
points. Or
right.
something.
Yeah,
Gee,
I think you're
I'm like-
right.
I'm like, where's the Mohawks at? They're not on
I
the
can't-
floor.
I don't remember the number, but it was Megan Meyer, I believe, who was playing for Mason City at the time, and I think she had 30 or 40 that game as well. So
Yeah.
it was quite a battle. And if you watch in one of those commercials that Caitlin's in, one of the shots that she hits is in the Mason City gym. You can see the background.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They were showing on like ESPN here a couple of weeks ago about the whole thing and the hype of everything
Okay.
and talking about that. And I go, that's the Mason City gym.
Yep. Yep. Some pretty good athletes go through that gym.
Oh yeah. But then but yeah, like I said, well, even Crooks Audie came and played at Newman.
Mhm.
So Newman girls like last year
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah.
pushing them around, and now look where she's at.
Yeah, I just read the other night that Cameron Brink, the center for Stanford, who beat Iowa State in overtime, and Brink is looked at right now as the number 2 pick in the WNBA draft behind Caitlin. And after the game, I did notice that Cameron Brink gave Audie Crooks a really big hug, and she told her, she said, "You're not going to be good. You're already good." She said, "You're going to be great." So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Sportsmanship, you gotta love it. That's right. And Pete, we got the best of it too.
Dang right.
Yeah. So anything else going on we need to talk about, or no? That's it.
Baseball's just getting going. Twins got a horrible injury, the third inning of the year, which is frustrating with Royce Lewis, but hopefully it's early enough where he can recover, and they're talking like maybe more Memorial Day he'll be back. But yeah, so it's kind of fun to see baseball getting going right now. It's just the changing of the seasons, so hopefully the weather will shape up and we can get some good baseball in as well.
Well, our attention will be at the NCAA tournaments, and by the time that's all done here in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to focus more on baseball.
Yeah, believe it or not, the NCAA tournaments a week from today, they'll be over.
Yeah.
Done.
Then you get the Masters you can bet on too.
Got the Masters.
Yeah.
Got spring football going on right now.
USFL or UFL.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that. I saw it was on, but
So we got all kind of sports going on. I love it.
too much to do outside. Got to be outside. Have the radio on, or turn on the TV in the garage and just go check in on it once in a while.
Well, you know what else works too? Pete is having a TV hanging on the outside of the house back in the patio area.
That's a good option.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen.
We'll admit, last Saturday when it was so nice out and the game was about to start, I did set up an extra TV in the garage facing outside so my wife and I could sit out in the sun and watch the game outside.
Oh, there you go. As long as you put some sunscreen on, you're good.
I don't need sunscreen yet, but soon. I am a Norwegian from North Dakota, so I do need sunscreen.
Right, exactly. All right, Pete. Well, have yourself a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right.
All right. Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
That's the good stuff.